It's 11:38 p.m. You're sitting at a plastic table with a cracked surface, recounting the last of your $1,000 in $100 notes. Rent is due in 2 days. Your phone buzzes with a reminder you already ignored twice. You tell yourself you're just checking numbers, just trying to see how tight things really are. That's when your friend drops a message. Come through. One game. Easy money. You hesitate for exactly 3 seconds, but the $1,000 in front of you doesn't change, no matter how long you stare at it. So you grab your jacket, pocket the $1,000, and start thinking about how to triple the money to pay your bills. An hour later, you're sitting at a table with 5 people you barely know, chips stacked in front of you like small promises. The rules are simple, the stakes are low at first. You fold twice, watch carefully, pretend you're not nervous, then you win a hand. Not much, just enough to feel the shift. Your chest tightens, not with fear, but with something sharper, possibility. You play again and again. By the end of the night, you've tripled what you brought, which is $3,000. It feels like clarity, like you've just discovered a system everyone else was too blind to see. You walk out thinking this isn't luck, this is leverage. And that's how it starts. You set rules, strict ones for yourself. You only play with what you can afford to lose. You keep track. You tell yourself this is math, not emotion. You research odds, watch videos, and read strategies. You convince yourself you're building a skill. And sometimes you are. You win more than you lose at the beginning, which is the most dangerous possible outcome. It reinforces everything you want to believe. You start seeing patterns where there are none, confidence where there should be caution. When you lose, you call it variance. When you win, you call it proof. Weeks pass, then months. The small stacks of chips grow larger. The games get bigger. You move from friendly tables to more serious rooms. The buy-ins climb, but so do the returns. Life becomes good. You pay your rent on time. You buy better clothes, not flashy, just enough to look like you belong somewhere better. You notice something small but undeniable. People treat you differently. Not dramatically, just enough. Now you're a regular, you're known now. People recognize you when you walk into the casinos. The ladies who despised you at first now love hanging around you because you now have deep pockets to fund their lifestyle. You've developed a strategy that works perfectly. You pride yourself on discipline and follow the plan. You don't chase losses. You don't tilt. You're not like the others who play emotionally. But that's not entirely true anymore. Because now, losing feels different. It's not just money, it's time, effort, and identity. When you lose a big hand, you replay it in your head for hours. You adjust strategies, refine decisions, and obsess over tiny margins. You're still in control, but only barely. You start increasing your stakes, not recklessly, but deliberately. You tell yourself the math supports it. Bigger risk, bigger reward. And for a while, it works. You have nights where you walk out with more money than your monthly salary used to be, nights when you feel untouchable. But then comes the first real loss. $50,000 lost in a night at the blackjack table. Not a small dip. Not a bad night, but a collapse. You're left with $20,000. You try to double down to recover fast, but it spirals. By the time you stop, you've lost more than you've ever made in a single session. You sit there staring at the empty space where your chips used to be, trying to calculate how it happened. But $50,000 is gone. The numbers don't make sense, and the logic doesn't hold. You don't walk away because you are now addicted. You now become a chaser. Not with the loss unresolved. You tell yourself you just need one good run to balance it out. You sell some of your stuff to get a few bucks. You return the next day and the next and the next. Your strategy changes. You play more aggressively. You take risks you wouldn't have considered before, because now you're not playing to win. You're playing to recover your losses. Your decisions shift subtly but dangerously. You bet bigger and faster. You start ignoring your own rules because they failed you once, and that's enough to break trust. Sometimes you win, and those wins are explosive. They feel like redemption, like confirmation that you were right all along. But they never fully cover what you lost. There's always a huge gap, and that gap becomes your focus. Gambling stops being an activity and becomes a structure. Your days revolve around it. Your finances revolve around it. You start borrowing, not recklessly, just temporarily, just enough to maintain momentum. You tell yourself it's an investment. You become more calculated, but also more detached. Money starts losing its meaning outside the game. It's no longer rent or food or bills. It's ammunition. It's fuel for the next hand, the next opportunity. You learn to mask losses. You downplay wins. You stop talking about it with people who don't understand because they'll tell you to stop, and stopping feels like failure. You convince yourself you're close, that one breakthrough is coming, that all the losses are just the cost of reaching a higher level. Your bankroll crosses $1 million, but internally, you've crossed the line. This is no longer a side activity. This is your primary source of income. You track everything. You analyze trends. You optimize your play. You move between games, platforms, environments, always looking for the edge. And you have one. Women don't just notice you. They pursue you. They assume things about you. Power, success, status. You play along. You host parties. You travel. You spend $30,000 on a weekend without thinking twice. Because you can make it back. You're good. Better than most. You win consistently enough to sustain yourself. You've built something that looks like control from the outside. Inside, the pressure is constant because now every decision carries weight beyond the table. A bad night doesn't just hurt your ego, it affects your survival. You feel it in every bet, every fold, every risk calculation. You begin taking higher risks, not because you want to, but because you need to maintain your status. You start encountering people who operate differently. They're colder and treat the game like a battlefield rather than a puzzle. You adapt to prevent losing. You develop strategies, you read behavior, manipulate perceptions, and create false patterns to mislead opponents. You take the biggest risk of your life, a $1 million buy-in game. One table. You take a risk not out of desperation, but out of overconfidence. You believe you've mastered the system, that you understand the variables, but you don't. The loss is catastrophic, not just financially. It breaks something fundamental, the belief that you're in control. You try to recover, of course you do, but this time it's different. Your decisions are compromised. Your confidence is fractured. You second guess yourself, hesitate at critical moments, and overcorrect in others. You start making mistakes you thought you'd outgrown. And the worst part is, you know it. The people around you notice. Slowly at first, then clearly. The attention fades, messages slow down, invitations stop, the girls stop chasing you. The same pattern from before, just reversed. And that's when it hits you. Nothing actually changed about you. Only the money did. You're no longer chasing money. You're chasing equilibrium, a return to a version of yourself that felt stable, competent, in control. But that version doesn't exist anymore. You sit at the table again, years after that first night, chips in front of you, hands steady, but mind racing. You've seen every phase of this world. You've climbed, fallen, adapted, broken, and rebuilt. You know the probabilities. You know the strategies. You know the cost. And yet, you're still here. Because gambling isn't just about winning or losing. It's about the illusion that the next decision can fix everything, that the next hand can reset the balance. You look at your cards, you calculate the odds, you assess the players, you make your move. And as the chips slide forward, you realize something that no amount of experience can change. You're not playing the game anymore. The game is playing you, and it never really ends.